JJ.
Andrew.
Wow. You sounded really more excited than I expected when I said that.
Who wouldn't be excited? It's another episode of We Were Gamers.
What is this podcast?
It's a podcast where you and I talk about how we used to play more games than we currently do.
It sounds so boring when we came up with the shortened version of this.
It's really depressing when you really boil it down to the essence. It's just like, we used to have fun.
It's like we should have called it Nostalgia Cast, but at the same time, we do still talk about current stuff that interests us. Although most of the time it's like, hey, that sounds interesting. We don't have time for it, but somebody else should talk about it.
It's like, that sounds interesting. Maybe in 2 years I'll play it.
Yeah. I'm still like wringing my hands over wanting to play Total Warhammer, and that's not even a thing anymore. Oh my God,
Andrew, I want to play it so bad. I know. I saw they're teasing doing a Total Warhammer 2 with like all different factions from Warhammer. So like, yeah. I think Britonia would still be in it, but then like all the other side of the map, basically.
Yep. That
they didn't do with like wood elves and all that stuff that weren't in the first one. And I was like, I want that so bad, but I don't have any time for that at all because I still haven't played the first one, which supposedly is also really good.
I know why you don't have time this week, and that's because the obligations have begun.
That's right. Which ones are we particularly talking about? I have so many sometimes.
I jest when I say obligations. But you had a little shindig, the pre-party for next year, man.
Yeah, we invited a lot of engagement. It's an engagement party, but it was not like every person. It was kind of a local kind of thing for most of the people. You were invited, of course, because you're a special, important person in my life as my podcast mate. Most important job.
Uh-huh.
But, it wasn't every person, in our lives, but we wanted to get as many as could conceivably show up to like a space that would in theory fit 50 people, but we probably crammed 60 in there.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, we had a great time.
It's just a busy time to bring all those people together because you've got so many people coming in from out of town and, people staying with you, people staying at hotels. And it was a great, fun party. And I got to talk to like a whole bunch of San Diego people that apparently listen to our podcast that I've, met maybe once.
I don't believe them when they say they listen to this podcast. So if they do, they should write into podcast@weweregamers.com.
Pretend you're not fake listeners.
I know. They're for super lying about listening to this podcast. But someone out there is listening. And good for you.
Well, it was a good party. But in other podcast news, Partycast. Oh, man. Okay, well, I'll get rid of this tea and get some scotch.
Woo!
I'm sitting here, JJ. I rearranged my desk into like a new configuration that now that I've seen it, I don't understand how I didn't see doing this before, and I am so much more comfortable, and I can see my screens, and there's no microphone in my... It's like a revelation, and it should have been.
Okay. I want... Paint me the mental picture here, because there's a microphone in the way of my second screen right now, and I wish it wasn't.
Yeah, I swung the microphone down from underneath, and then I raised everything else up. So literally the microphone's under... my nose, right? Like yours is probably, but the arms and everything else are off and then coming up from underneath.
Oh, interesting.
So all my monitors and stuff are to the right of me.
Huh. Okay. Maybe I'll try that. I need to this podcast arm that I have the microphone attached to is extremely adjustable, so I could do stuff with it. But I haven't yet because
changed my life. I've got all my notes right in front of me instead of off to the side. It's wonderful. Apparently, the takeaway from your party should have been that the Homeowners Minute is the real meat of this show.
Oh, yeah? Is that what everyone listens to? Well, I got some stuff.
Literally mentioned to be multiple times.
Well, let's talk about stuff that exists in my Homeowners Minute right now. Andrew, I got my DMV license renewal, which is the thing that homeowners and car owners have to do sometimes.
Your license for your...
My vehicle registration renewal. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I have to get my car smogged, Andrew.
Whoa.
Now, as a person who bought a new car, let's say in 2010, when I bought my new car, I've never had to get this car smogged before. I don't know that I've ever gotten a car smogged in my life.
It's pretty easy now. The car actually does it itself.
Well, that's what I've been told, but I've never gone through this process. Stephanie informs me that it just involves waiting for 30 minutes somewhere, and then they give you a certificate and email something somehow, and then you send the DMV money and everything is good, but I don't believe that. That sounds like a lie, because nothing with the DMV is that easy.
I have smogged 3 vehicles in varying degrees of newness and varying degrees of certificateness over the years. And I'll tell you, the last time when I actually sold my Mustang, literally they just sort of plugged in a cable and they ran the car for 30 minutes and they emailed the certificate off just like she says, and everything was golden.
Okay. So I assume that mine will be closer to the latter than the former, but I've literally never done this. This is a source of anxiety in my life. I don't know what, because and then also, by the way, you still have to pay the money to register the car.
You want to talk about anxiety? Let's talk about how I also received our registration renewal and the fees have gone up, sir.
Is this higher? I mean, the car is a depreciating asset, so I don't notice that the fee goes up because the total amount still goes down compared to last year. But which there are fees that are higher than they used to be? Yeah,
like your whatever the main chunk of it, for our
the
cars,
licensing or registration fee, whichever one of those is the higher
the big one that went up. And it's possibly going to go up again.
Thanks for nothing, Jerry Brown.
I know.
Wait, is he the one that sets these? I don't know.
Actually, he does. He can sign a piece of paper and he can raise it.
Is it the California legislature that does that, or is it him?
No, Jerry Brown can do it on his own.
Okay. Thanks for nothing, jerk. I don't think I voted for him, though, so... Oh, wait, no, yes, I probably did.
I don't know. They got to pay for that train somehow, I guess.
Literally the train to nowhere.
You'll be fine. The first time I smogged a car, I had to wait there. They had to put it on a lift and stick stuff on the tailpipes, and then they printed out pieces of paper that I had to then. I felt like I had to get it notarized, but I didn't. It was a complicated process, and now you don't get anxiety. You'll be fine.
There is a 30 minutes of someday wasted whenever that happens. I also got to notice that my mortgage is being transferred to another lender owner. I think that's right. Someone else bought my mortgage from whoever owned it before, and now I have to pay someone different, which is a hassle. It's not actually anxiety-inducing now that I have all the paperwork in front of me, but it's dumb. It's like, oh, stop using this other website where you have the auto debit and everything set up, and go to this other website and re-enter all this information because we can't transfer it because internet or something. I don't know. A hassle.
People with a lot more money have so much more control of your life. This is getting too deep, I think.
Thanks for nothing, banks. All right. Let's move out of the part of the podcast that everyone listens to.
Oh, you don't want to hear my homeowners minute?
Oh, you have. I thought we were commiserating about the vehicle registration. Is there more?
Do you have you ever, quote unquote? I learned a new phrase, dressed a brick before.
Okay, I'm gonna guess what this is because the answer is no. I think. Dressed a brick.
Yeah.
So, okay, is this Okay, we're not talking about making bricks here, right?
No. That would be called firing a brick.
Firing a brick. Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure if there was some other term for that. Okay, so then dressing must be involved in shaping it somehow? To fit in the mold that you need or something? No?
So a long time ago, I knocked down a bunch of old stuff around the house, and most of it involved brickwork.
Like planters and stuff.
Planters, other pieces of hardscape is the correct term, I think.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, what do you call those? Like beds that are leveled off as they go down a slope or something.
Sure. and walls and all sorts of other.
Like retaining wall. That was the word I was thinking.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't demolish a retaining wall. That's done with cinder block.
Okay,
but other walls.
These were little ones.
Yeah, little planters. To the point, demolishing that stuff. If you decide to be frugal, you save the bricks for reuse later. If you can, some of them break obviously, and some of them have to break.
Well, you got to get them out of the mortar somehow.
Yeah, you get them out of the mortar, and then if you want to reuse them, because buying new bricks is on the whole expensive, you have to remove the old mortar from them, and that is dressing a brick.
Okay, so it's like using a chisel to chip away at the side of a brick.
Yeah, it's the worst.
That sounds really annoying.
It's the worst, especially when about halfway through, you've been working on a brick for a while and you tap it with the chisel a certain way and the brick breaks in half.
Okay. That's funny that it would work like that. I would just assume that you would tap it with the chisel and like the left side of the brick you were working on would just come off.
Oh, that happens too. Sure. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. But that's not bad. It's only bad when it cuts in half.
It depends. I mean, if you chip away a corner of it and you're going to flip it over to the other side, who cares?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then after you dress all the bricks, you pick them up and you put them in your wheelbarrow and you move them to the backyard so that once you finish demolishing the front yard, you can bring them back to the front yard again.
Okay. That just sounds really tedious.
Yeah, man.
Just like a lot of like mind-numbing podcast listening time.
All right, now we can move out of the homeowners minute.
All right. That sounds good. Let's talk about video games.
I think this is where I insert that thing I saved a long time ago that I've never used, where you say news, but you have this like do 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 do.
We're into the news section. Do 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 do.
I think I posted about this online, but I have to mention it here because I want to know who the market for this is. They're re-releasing StarCraft in HD, JJ.
I'm the market for this. That's awesome, Andrew.
I feel like I'm the market for this.
Okay, so like I just want to really quick talk for a minute about original StarCraft because that's what this is. They're taking original StarCraft and remastering the assets or something. It's not like they just go in and took the little pixels and just like expanded them, right?
Well, do you think that they remastered it on the same engine with higher things, or did they take the SC2 engine and use that to recreate SC1?
So according to them, this is going to be StarCraft, like StarCraft 1 StarCraft, but it's just going to look better. So there's no way they could have done all that stuff in SC2 because like their stuff, they're talking about all those like crazy high-level Brood War things that those guys used to do with like Mutalisks and only being able to select 12 units and all that stuff is going to be there.
Oh, okay.
So this is them literally taking the assets and like showing a guy today a tiny little set of pixels and being like, okay, draw this in 4K.
Oh boy.
It's like, here, Mr. Artist, you draw things for video games. See this guy that's like, the size of your thumb and finger together? Make it 4K and then put it in this other game that we're going to release to people. I like this. I think I like this. I don't know.
I just hope they don't then they take that and then they pixelate it like they did the Diablo HD thing where they made it look un-HD so make it look like old but not.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to do that though.
I would be not a fan of that.
The screenshots that they showed looked like they just took the art and then made it higher resolution. So it would be the same art in theory, or, as close to the same art as you can get, because you can't just, if you're redrawing something, it's not going to be the same, right? It's the next artist's take on what the first thing looked like, and it's not exactly the same.
Yeah.
But it'll be close. And so instead of being pixelated, the lines will be smooth. It'll just look like what that one looked like.
Well, I'm game to relive the 90s. I'm there.
Yeah, and like fail those same escort missions over and over again.
Sure. Or the like learning mission. I remember that learning mission where it was you get like one Marine at a time on a space platform and you have to start moving around and collect other Marine, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And I think they said they're going to redo all those cutscenes. I don't know how that's going to look. I don't know if I want them to do that.
Yeah, then what may not look as animatronic.
And maybe that's good. I don't know. It could end up being a really weird thing. But we'll see. I think it's cool. The original StarCraft and like StarCraft Brood War were really awesome games. And speaking of this, they re-released the original ones for free. Like you could just go get them.
Yeah, all you need is a BattleNet account.
Yeah, so if you are a person who has never played those games, free games. Like literally just make a BattleNet account, download them, play them for free.
We're moving on.
Yeah, so I have been playing Bayonetta here and there between my bouts of spending time with Persona 5. And Bayonetta, we talked a little bit. We posted some links about that, about how the Steam reviews for that game are pretty ridiculous. And people seem to be enjoying it overall, despite the fact that there's a graphics option in that game that just straight up does nothing. That's pretty exciting when I found that out.
I had not heard that.
They have the it's one of the anti-aliasing options. It's like MSAA, I think, which is like. Anyway, we're not going to do a graphics tutorial here. Maybe one day, if someone's interested, we can talk about that stuff. Anyway, it's one of the ways to make your picture look prettier, right? And there's a bunch of settings for it. It's like 1 time, 2 times, 4 times, 8 times, and I think 16 times is the max. Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. It just does nothing. You could set it to 16 on your, computer that can't even run the game, and it will have no effect.
I've kind of found in the recent years that like game graphic options are overriding pretty much everything, and that entire pane of options for the graphics card has become useless, or vice versa. There's just a lot of Windows really, really, really needs a graphics cleanup in terms of what controls what and what overrides what, and a streamlining of that process, and who's aliasing and what's controlling 3D options and shading. And
yeah, so the problem is a lot of it is controlled by your graphics card, which Windows just has to play nice with whichever graphics card you install, and then their drivers. So I have an NVIDIA graphics card, and so NVIDIA's drivers have options that let you override the options in specific games. But if you then turn the options for those games on while you're overriding their option, that everyone fights and mommy and daddy get mad and your computer probably overheats.
Yeah.
So, anywho, this is a long way around to say that I've been playing Bayonetta for a bit, and it got a 22 kilobyte patch today. That's not very big, Andrew.
Did they forget to put the stilettos on her boots or something like that?
No, the guns are still on her stilettos. Don't worry about that part. The update contained one image that was like a little square, like an avatar image or something.
Uh-huh.
That was a picture of a robot head.
In some sort of part of the game where?
Nope. It's a picture of a robot head from a different game that Platinum, the people that developed Bayonetta originally for the PS3 and the Xbox, made. The game is called Vanquish.
Ooh.
And this is a game that people have been wanting to play on PC for a really long time.
So it's time for them to resurrect their company by doing PC ports?
Maybe. I don't know. I do know, though, that people are pretty excited about that. And Vanquish is a game that, like Bayonetta, has a lot of like really good and interesting like combat controls. But you're a robot, and there's a lot of sliding in that game. So you like slide and shoot people while you're sliding and like do cool robot stuff.
Awesome. I like robots.
Yeah, that game is beloved and is another one of those games that's like, hey, you can only play it on the last generation of consoles, which people don't really have that much of anymore. So hope you like your old Xbox and PS3 because they're the only things that can play it. So it would be really awesome if they put that game out on PC, is what I'm saying.
If you had to pick a robot, like full-on metal-bodied robot, what would be your favorite robot?
Man, I have to pick a robot? Can I pick like a Gundam? Is that allowed? Is that a robot or is it a like human operated machine so it doesn't count?
There were robot Gundams, like in Gundam Wing. All those ones were like automated.
Oh, yeah, the like automated ones.
But yeah, I think you'd have to pick an automated one.
Okay.
I think it's unfair because then you could say like, Voltron or whatever too.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so it would need to be like a fully autonomous robot to count.
Right, and like, Data doesn't count because he's an android or whatever.
All right, that was my next question.
Yeah.
I can't pick something that's like a human thinking robot. It has to just be a...
No, yeah, not... Well,
I mean, where do we draw the line between humanity and artificial intelligence, Andrew?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe an android counts. Certainly not what are those ones that are like half human? Cyborg. No cyborgs.
Okay, so not humans with like robot parts.
Definitely
Although
not.
that would be pretty cool too. I mean, like Cyborg from the comics is pretty sweet.
Oh, sure. Yeah, but he's a human.
But he's a human. Okay. Okay.
There's no way to answer this question correctly because in 5 minutes we're going to think of 10 more robots.
I know. This is like super dangerous, even like committing to one answer that I even am okay with.
I'm hoping to generate hate mail.
So out there.
How could you not have thought of Vision?
I mean, no. Vision is like, is he even really a robot, like technically?
Okay, how could you not have thought of Red Tornado?
Yeah. Is Omega Red a robot?
I don't know. Maybe. Omok's a robot too, right? No, or he's an artificial intelligence. See what I mean? Like,
yeah, who knows? Brainiac?
Yeah. And then we'll get the like somebody will be like, "Well, what about that robot from Lost in Space?"
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be that guy though. Like, if my vocabulary is nearly completely limited to Danger, Will Robinson, I'm out. But what about the Iron Giant though? That guy was pretty cool. Although it didn't end so great for him. So
that would be my pick though. So
yeah, Iron Giant is pretty good.
I think Bender comes in second, but definitely Iron Giant.
Oh, Bender would be pretty cool. A lot of the robots for Futurama actually would be pretty sweet. What about like Robot Satan?
Sure,
from that
but I
show?
think if we count the robots from Futurama, then I think Data counts.
Yeah. Okay, and then you would just pick Data, right? Because he's the best.
I think I'd still pick Iron Giant over Data, but then Data might come in second over Bender. I don't know.
Over Bender.
This is what I'm saying. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
There's no good There's no best robot. Maybe is the point of this conversation.
You're definitely right that like 10 minutes from now, we're both going to have thought of 5 more robots, but we can't go back to this discussion.
Let's talk about Persona 5 then.
Okay.
I don't think there's any
hard
robots
left
in that
turn.
game.
Hold on. Are there any robots? There are vending machines. Those aren't robots, though.
They will be robots eventually.
Yeah, and when the uprising comes.
I think there actually might be robot vending machines.
In Japan, it wouldn't surprise me. I would believe it entirely.
How's it going in that game? Anything to report?
I think I've played that game for like 30 hours over the last couple weeks. I have a lot of high school friends, and it's it's a really weird game to want to talk about because I don't want to spoil any of it for anyone else that wants to play it.
Okay.
It is so weird and interesting, the stuff you can get up to in that game, because like there's so many different, like every, maybe let's say like not every day, but like most days, right? You'll go to school. You'll be in class and the teacher will ask you some kind of random or seemingly random question, all of which like are like Japanese trivia or like Japanese school questions or something, because like as an American, I have no idea how to answer any of these questions. I certainly did not learn about whatever magistrate's privilege is in school in America. That's for sure.
Does that just mean the principal gets to do whatever they want?
Nope. It's like some kind of law thing and like related to like the Shogun era and like some guy whose name I don't remember. Like, it's like the answers to these questions are really hard. I have to Google all of them because it's impossible. It's like, here's a symbol. Do you play shogi? Which piece is this? No, I don't play shogi. I have no idea what this is.
Why didn't they try to westernize that part of it?
That's a great question. I have no idea. There's actually a lot of this game that I wonder why they didn't try to westernize even a little bit. like I understand a lot of the appeal is that the game is like a slice of Japanese life, and that's like a cool thing you experience, taking the subway to school and like being a kid in Tokyo and all this. But like also like the way sentences are formed and like the way people speak sometimes is like a really strange. Like, you and I would never talk in the way some of these characters talk.
Much like Aaron Sorkin show.
Yeah, except that like Aaron Sorkin's stuff is clearly screenwritten for TV, but this was like clearly screenwritten for someone who had like wasn't a native English speaker. I don't want to say that it's like they use Google Translate because it's way better than that, but like it's like they took the way the Japanese sentence was structured and structured their English sentence that way, so that it just comes off weird. It's like, we were robbed by the thieves who steal from people.
What?
Which is not something you would say in English, right?
No.
Because of course thieves steal from people. That's like the definition of the word thief.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to like say that second part, but like in Japanese, that's kind of how sentences work. Like there's words at the end, and like maybe it doesn't mean exactly those things. So like maybe that sentence had like more connotation or something.
Yeah, it sounds like that was. It wasn't meant as a literal sentence. It was meant as more of a denotation of a group, right? Like,
right.
So it wasn't translated perfectly.
Right. Or like it was translated fine, but they didn't like have a native speaker go over it and like see, okay, like this while it makes perfect sense in English and is definitely like okay English grammar and sentence and everything, is just not the way anyone in English would ever speak. And like maybe they have some reason for doing that. I don't know. Maybe it's part of the charm or something.
I thought we had gotten past that with...
I'm really liking the game. I'm not saying... And also there's like a lot of times where they definitely do use English like correctly in like ways that maybe you wouldn't expect sometimes. Or like you're a group of teens. So, the kids talk like the teens do sometimes. And like, this guy just like, gets bumped into on the subway and he yells, "Watch it." And you're like, what?
What?
What? Where did that come from? Why did you just like randomly throw a nonsensical swear word out there? Like but like, that's definitely something like a young kid who doesn't know what the hell he's doing would do.
I thought they were too busy with Snapchat to yell at people.
Well, he got walked into because he was on his phone, see?
Aha!
Yeah.
There's the Snapchat.
Yeah. The, it is a slice of teenage life in that also, like, all the kids are, like, awkward around each other when they first meet, and they're like, hey, I want to be your friend. I don't know how to be friends. This is weird. And, like, that kind of stuff. I'm really enjoying it, actually. You get to, sort of meet your group of friends, and it kind of expands as the game goes on, and I am really enjoying that. I have found a few items that sort of help me through the battle parts of the game, specifically ones that let me regenerate my mana statistic. I think it's called SP in this game, which is generally a pretty limited resource in battles. So sort of like you start the day with a full amount of SP, and it kind of just goes down from there. So anything that you can do to help regenerate that is obviously very helpful.
Nice. Well, I can't wait for you to finish it and give it a non-spoiler final.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about in this game if you want to talk spoilers, but if you don't, it's really a cool, interesting thing that if people like these sorts of games, you should definitely check it out.
Well, we'll do the spoiler part off the air then.
Okay.
Speaking of Aaron Sorkin, you know what I actually plowed through in the last couple months that I really haven't mentioned on here?
No, what up?
I never watched The West Wing before.
I was just going to say, did you watch all of The West Wing?
Yeah,
That's
I did,
funny.
Actually.
So I watched that show when it was on TV, like for real, back in the day. And, like at the time, it really felt cool that like President Bartlett was like, oh yeah, he's doing stuff that the real president would never do. Yeah, he's so cool. Except like, it's really hard to believe anything that they do on that show because of how ridiculous some of the situations they get in are.
Yeah. Although, interestingly, a lot of the issues that they talk about in the show, you're like, wow, we haven't moved anywhere in 20 years.
Yeah, it was like, oh, this was like a liberal/progressive dream back 20-ish years ago. Still a dream.
Well,
yeah.
I don't mean to get into the politics of the show too much, other than saying, I've never watched like a huge amount of Aaron Sorkin work before, and that was a lot of it. And by the end, my head was just kind of like, I've taken in a lot of words.
How many walk and talks did you attempt to do with other people and realize that no one does that and it's not a thing?
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had 25 minutes to walk through my home.
And just like round corners with a camera in front of you and your aide next to you while you both converse deeply about political issues as you turn the same 5 corners 5 or 6 times or whatever.
It was so good, though.
Oh, the show was great back in the day. I remember really liking it, actually. I don't think I saw the last season, maybe. Yeah.
Anyway, I would not put it in the category of things you remember but aren't as good as you remember.
So it's a little better than that?
Yeah, no, it's good. But I guess we need to come up with a better name for that segment. It doesn't go in that segment.
Okay.
I'm going to try Twin Peaks next, and I have a feeling it's going to go in that segment.
Oh, dude, no. I've seen Twin Peaks pretty recently, and that show is still good. The first season, anyway. I'm not going to try and defend the second season. The second season is its own thing. The first season is really good, though. Have you seen Twin Peaks all the way through ever before?
No. I tried like the first 3 episodes, and I thought it was super soapy, and then somebody told me I was wrong and that I needed to try it again. So
Man. Okay, well, you're not wrong. It is pretty soapy, but also it's so good.
Okay.
It's like, yeah, I watched all of the first season probably over the course of a few months, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago or something. It's pretty good. It's worth it. The second season is a struggle, though. It gets real. At the end of the first season, you're like, okay, they're going to do more of this stuff? This is awesome. Yeah. And then the second season's like, nope, we're doing something else. Yeah, it's a classic, and for good reason, I think.
I think it was mentioned to me because they were still thinking about doing that new season of it or whatever.
That's happening for sure. I think it's coming out pretty soon.
Well, so that's kind of why I'll give it one more shot. Although, you know what else is getting another new season that I will report on this podcast?
Yes.
The X-Files.
What?
Yeah.
I just want to know. Okay, did people like that new one that they did the one new season of?
I liked some of it.
Okay, I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
Was it good?
No.
No. Okay.
If I walked away from it having to give you a full impression of that new that like 6-episode arc or whatever it was, I'd say it should have been another movie or 2-episode event or something like that, and they should have cut out the rest of it.
Okay, gotcha.
It was just too self-important, and it tried to do too much, and they tried to like hit all the notes of a season in a certain amount of episodes. So there was like a weird 2 or 3 weird non sequitur episodes in the middle of a story arc that felt like it should have happened in 1 or 2 episodes. And everyone was super angsty for no reason, and no one had seemed like it was weird.
Okay. I hate when they do that with TV shows where they really just, it's like clear. They're like, okay, we only have 6 episodes. We really got to cram all this stuff in there. Let's go. Let's do everything. It's
well, some of it didn't even need to be in there.
It doesn't make good TV.
Yeah.
Or good anything.
So did I enjoy seeing the X-Files again? Yeah. It was cool.
Okay. But you liked the original pretty well.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
I could watch that on a loop.
Okay.
But
I enjoyed the original also, but I don't think as much as you did.
I think I have enough love for the original to try out whatever they bring out again. You know what I mean?
Sure. Okay.
It's like you still wanted to go see episode 2 after episode 1 came out. Because you love Star Wars, right?
Yeah. I think in the time of episode 2, speaking of Star Wars specifically, I don't think that that movie was as badly Look, everyone knew it was bad, but like it wasn't as hated as it is now, I think. Those prequels didn't really get hated on as badly as they have been at the time.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I could follow that. Speaking of sci-fi, MST3K also is back.
Oh, I know. That is one that I also really want to watch, and I have not.
I watched the first episode.
Okay. Is it still that?
It is still that.
Where there's like a dude on a space station with the robots, and they watch some old movie that sucks.
Yep.
And they talk about it.
And they have little interludes, and they do their little musicals. And they talk in the interludes. They still have funny commercial break stuff, even though they don't take commercial breaks because it's on Netflix.
That's really funny that they carried that forward, actually.
Yeah, they took a minute and a half, basically at the beginning of the episode, the first episode with Will Wheaton, to, like as an intro guy with a stupid little bit to explain why he's doing MST3K again, even though, you know, it was been like 15 years later or whatever it is.
And it's like a different actor and everything, and like
no, isn't it the same guy?
No, it isn't.
No,
the actor is not the same guy. I mean, maybe the same guys are doing the robot voices. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the guy is a different guy. Go ahead and correct us in an email here. I don't care what the answer is, though. So I just want to know if it's good, though. Like, did you enjoy seeing it again?
I enjoyed seeing it again in a nostalgic way, but not in a way that's going to keep me tuned into it straight through. Like, much like when it was on television, it's good background noise.
Right.
And it still has that charm to it where you're like, oh, this is enjoyable.
It's bad, good. It's good, bad.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. Yeah.
Because those movies are all awful, intentionally awful.
Sure.
Sometimes. And like they pick.
Well, I'm not judging it based on the movies they picked. I'm judging it.
No.
Yeah. On what it is.
Yeah. Regardless, I guess, whether it's the original people or not, the jokes are still doing their thing, and the movies are still dumb enough that they can make the jokes. So,
yep.
Do you know how many episodes there are of that? Is it 10?
Oh God, it's more than that. I think it's like 14.
Oh wow, okay, so like a big season.
Yeah, but they're each like 2 hours too. So
yeah, they're movie length ish.
Yeah,
right?
So that's what I mean. It's like even if you are into it, we kind of need something else to do at the same time because you can't sit there for 2 hours watching it.
Yeah, that's long.
Yeah. We actually had a plan for this show.
We did?
Yeah, we should probably get to it.
Oh, okay. I mean, like, yeah. Of course we had a plan, Andrew. I mean, what do you mean? We always have plans.
Sure.
This is a very planned out and scripted show all the time.
Oh, yeah. That's why we have... No, we don't do that. But we did get I did get a suggestion from friend of the pod / honorary gamer.
Okay.
Ken?
Yeah, Ken. We know Ken.
To check out a game called Zombie Night Terror.
Okay.
Which is essentially a new age zombie version of Lemmings.
Man, Lemmings is like a trip, dude. I haven't thought about Lemmings in at least 10 years.
So we both checked it out.
Yeah.
And I feel like the memory of Lemmings was enough to get me interested in checking it out, despite my, my night terrors regarding zombies.
For those of you who don't know, Andrew is actually afraid of zombies. For real. Which we don't want to, make fun of him, but zombies also aren't real. So, anyway.
Which is funny because I can watch The Walking Dead.
Yeah, which is a show all about zombies, actually. Although, I guess it's arguable that show is actually more about man's inhumanity towards man rather than the zombies. The zombies are kind of just like the window dressing.
Sure, and I think that's why I can handle that. But
yeah. But so the game, though, is very much about zombies.
Yeah.
And
it made me nervous.
Guiding your zombie lemmings to kill everyone is my understanding.
Yeah, well, let's start with Lemmings for a minute.
Okay.
I feel like we did our little DOS episode, and we probably missed the ball on this one. Although I didn't play it enough to rate it, and I don't know that it would still crack my top 5.
I definitely did not play this game very much when I was young. I knew other people that played it, or like, you know, when I was younger even than some of those games and the DOS games that I ended up remembering. You know, I knew other people that were playing those games then, but I was not playing this one.
I'm going to give a little rundown on it, just in case people haven't played it or don't know what it is.
Yeah, go for it.
Lemmings used fictional, anthropomorphized, not fictional, versions of Lemmings to kind of create like a puzzle game where you had a sort of a leader lemming that entered the map at one point and needed to lead the rest of the lemmings that followed him in a train, an uncontrollable line.
The lemmings work like the fictional animal, or well, the like semi-fictional animal,
the fictionalized version of the animal,
where they all just follow the one in front of it, and so if the first one jumps off a cliff, all the other ones follow it off a cliff.
Right. So the game sets up a start point and an end point, and you need to get them to the end point, and you can you get special powers that you can click on to certain lemmings in the line, and then force lemmings to then do things to try and save their lives and get them to the exit without losing them.
Right. Like one will be, hey, I can make a block so that they can go up one step to get over this wall.
Or this one stops them and sends them the other direction. Or this one...
so that they don't walk off the cliff.
Right, exactly. It inspired a lot of games, actually. The one that sticks out in my mind most is probably Pikmin.
Yeah, Pikmin is definitely like a Lemmings...
advanced Lemmings.
Adjacent kind of game.
Yeah, everything is kind of Lemmings adjacent. There's never been a full Lemmings category, maybe, but at its core, Lemmings is just a puzzle game, right? So like World of Goo kind of counts as a Lemmings game, or you know, Nintendo made all sorts of I think they made a Kirby version and other things like that that are all Lemmings adjacent. They use the same theory of having a lot of these things. I'd almost even say that TDs are related, but not exactly.
They're in that idea where like the level is the same every time, and you sort of have to figure out the best way to maneuver everything around.
At their core, they're puzzles.
Yeah, the Lemmings specifically, and games like Lemmings are definitely here is a set of, you know, a map, and you have your, you know, X number of guys that just walk, you know, back and forth, figure out how to get them from A to B.
Simple graphics, simple controls for the first one. You played it on your PC, obviously, because we mentioned DOS. And the powers were there were a decent amount of them, but they were pretty straightforward, and the levels were decently straightforward, and it was cool. It was a popular game. I don't know. I don't think it's my favorite, but it was definitely a popular game and should be mentioned.
And there were like 8,000 spin-offs and versions of this, like Lemmings 6 and Lemmings Through the Looking Glass.
Oh no,
like,
more Lemmings.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 800 versions of this game that are, you know, not the same thing, but are basically the same thing. Just more puzzles. All
right, so we dove straight in, having not talked about Lemmings before and feeling bad about it. We dove straight into Zombie Night Terror. What'd you think, dude?
Man, that game is Lemmings.
Yeah, but there's guns and people with bats and zombies and blood. And
it's really interesting how they took the idea of the, like, zombies are like a pretty good analog to what Lemmings are, right? I mean, they have no brain. They kind of just walk back and forth. You can't control them at all, really. And zombies just sort of do the same thing, right? They walk back and forth. There's really no way to control them. They kind of just do... They go forward and they eat brains if there are brains to eat, and then they don't otherwise, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like that part fits really good. The game is pretty much all black and white except for blood and like a couple other things.
The toxin. So the game starts off and you start the first level and you have an infection. The infection is, you find out later, drug related. So you end up giving people drugs that infect them with this zombie virus. And you kind of build your zombie army, so to speak, that seems to carry forward level to level.
I don't know how much of it does. Part of the puzzle stuff, I think, is only giving you so many zombies at a time.
Sure.
Because then when you kill and the goal is in each level, right, to kill all the humans, to sort of, bring about the zombie apocalypse. But when you kill a human, it comes back as a new zombie for you, so that you can then, send that zombie to somewhere else to do whatever.
Just like Lemmings, you don't control the zombies. You control the environment a little bit, and you control if they go up the stairs or down, whether they break down doors or not. But they kind of just move straight forward in a line, unless you use, just like before, powers where you turn certain zombies into things that turn them around, etc.
Yeah. So the ones that I like, the one to turn them around is like the most basic one, just to keep them from walking off the cliff. But the one that I saw used a lot that seemed really cool was one that would like throw them. So like it's in Lemmings, right? A lot of the time was spent figuring out how to move blocks or whatever, so that you could build a ramp to like get over pits or whatever. Or if you had guys that could build little bridges or something.
Right.
But the zombies, they literally have one of these like zombie powers that you can use to turn a guy into like a spring zombie. And when another zombie walks up to him, he just throws him. And, you can kind of choose the arc of the throw, so you can make it go farther or steeper or however you feel. So they walk up to a pit, this like spring zombie goes like boing, and the zombie flies over. That was a really cool way to like not make the zombies try to build stuff, because obviously they couldn't do that.
Yeah. It was very thematic. It was cool.
And, like you could make zombies that explode to get through like, brick walls or whatever, or, convert them into crawling zombies so they can get up walls and go through vents and stuff like that.
What overall do you think, other than Pikmin, this is kind of like the first re-entry for that genre? Do you think this is kind of, I think, going to be a popular one-off? It's very indie, but at the same time looks kind of cool and polished, and people like Lemmings, and they'll play this. But I don't know that this is, unless Nintendo comes back with another Pikmin game or something else, I don't think this is a genre that's going to be uber popular. Yeah,
Zombie Night Terror, right, is the name?
Yeah.
It kind of has like a pulpy movie kind of feel, with like some of the human characters act like really dumb humans in horror movies.
Oh, and the music. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a lot of like horror movie schlock.
It kind of reminded me a little bit. Some parts of it reminded me of the Kung Fury soundtrack.
Yes, actually. Yeah, for sure.
Did you see that movie?
I have seen it, yeah. Yeah.
Should we?
It's dumb in the right way.
I think we should do a bonus episode where we watch that one. Like the whole bonus episode is just us, because it's not long enough. It's like 40 minutes or less.
Is it? No. Is it? Oh, yeah, it is. It's pretty short. Yeah. Okay. We could
do a riff track.
I like that movie.
Bonus episode.
Yeah, that movie's pretty dumb. In a good way. Sort of.
Yeah, David Hasselhoff is in it.
That movie, that like short / movie / whatever it is, it was really popular when it came out, and then there was like a lot of backlash against it afterwards.
Why?
I don't know. I think people thought it was trying to be more than it was. It was really dumb and fun, and I took it for that, and I enjoyed it.
I think it was exactly what it was supposed to be. I don't know if that's popular or not, but it was exactly what they tried to make.
I mean, it was definitely not any Iron Sky, but it's still pretty good.
Dude, Iron Sky.
What a movie.
Of all the bad movies you've made me watch, that one is the best.
Isn't it great? Man, if people don't know, Iron Sky is a movie about Nazis from the moon that reinvade Earth.
That's all you really need to know.
Yep, watch that movie. It's real dumb in every good possible way. Man, is it dumb. Yeah, but Lemmings, is a game, and as a puzzle game, I think it's fun to try and play for a bit, but I don't know if I would want to play like 50 levels of it.
I think that people should I think that this game, if it becomes popular enough to reawaken this a little bit, I think that it is good in a way that will revitalize the puzzle genre a little bit.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That's kind of been lacking, I think, in terms of puzzle games. And maybe somebody can email us at podcast@WeWereGamers and tell us puzzle games that we've missed in the last couple of years. But there hasn't been a crazy amount of good, easy puzzlers out there.
Yeah, like, to be honest with you, I have recently installed an app that just gives me crossword puzzles every day to do, because, like, puzzles in general are kind of, like, every puzzle game out there is some kind of, like, match 3 situation, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, or I guess there was Witness recently, but that's about it, right?
Yeah, and that is definitely a good puzzle game, and, like, people like that a lot, but it is its own thing and requires, like...
It's a Myst genre game.
Yeah, but it's definitely still a puzzle game, though, like, separate from Myst. It's hard to explain that game without spoiling it, also, but it is a game that requires a lot of concentration, where, like, a lot of these puzzle games, like Lemmings and stuff, you could do while you were watching a movie or Netflix or whatever.
Right, yeah, that's kind of what I mean, is, like, there's a genre of puzzles where you can sit and do it while you're watching a movie, and there's a genre of puzzles out there that is Witness and Myst, where you gotta, like, really be immersed and take notes and do all sorts of stuff if you want to solve it yourself. And then there's this kind of thing that I think is in between that we've really been missing. So somebody either tell us what we're missing at podcast@weweregamers.com, or tell us that we're right and that somebody needs to make it. And you could easily do that without an email, and just, we really like seeing on Twitter that we were right, so you should tweet at us at We Were Gamers, like, hey, you're right.
Yep.
You don't even need to reference what it's for. Just say you're right.
Yeah, please just do that. Validation is really why, at least I get up in the morning. Constant validation over and over. It's really the only thing that keeps me going.
What other ways can you get validation there?
You can validate our Facebook page by liking it and then posting on it about how great we are. And you already mentioned the Twitter, which is a great place, or following our Instagram, which is also We Were Gamers, where we sometimes post photos.
I need a video clip of you doing the Mad Max Witness Me, but instead just holding up your Twitter on your phone and saying, validate me.
Validate me. Why don't I have the blue check mark? I swear I'm who I say I am.